Yo, 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 what's up, fuckers? Football is back. Woo! And I'm back with another episode of the Fantasy Freestyle podcast. This week, we're going to do a league draft recap, as well as look at some of the key matchups and go over a Thursday night football recap instead of a preview. I did the episode a day late. I did this shit for free. Sue me.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Alright, let's go over the draft that happened this past Sunday. We had the draft party at Hooters. Everyone that went can say that there was some fantastic TTs there that night. Shout out to everybody that was able to draft remotely. I know Greg was doing it while he was at work, and Christo was drafting from Bulgaria at 6:30 in the morning, probably while he was taking his first dookie of the day. So Jonathan Taylor went first overall, yada yada. I'm sure that that's true for 99% of leagues this year. But second overall pick, Josh Allen. As soon as Greg picked him, everybody in the bar did the Pikachu face. It looks like it's paying off for him so far. I'll cover that more later in the Thursday night recap. I'm going to go ahead and say that he was the most expensive player of the draft. Will it pay off? I guess we'll see as the season goes on. Our draft was very running back heavy, which is to be expected, provided our league scoring settings. A stat that I did find interesting, though, was in our first round, we had 6 running backs. In our second round, we had 6 running backs. And in our third round, you guessed it, that's right, we had 6 running backs. 6, 6, 6. Or I guess you could just call it 60% of the first 3 rounds. Another pick that I found interesting was Aaron Rodgers going all the way in the 14th round, 133rd pick overall. I guess that shows our projected outcome for him without Devontae Adams. It's kind of like back in 2005 in the NFL draft when he fell to the 24th overall after being projected as one of the top picks. That was before everybody knew how great he was. You guys tell me, now that he doesn't have a top 3 wide receiver and he's gotten into this weird psychedelic ayahuasca Dr. Joe Rogan vibe, do you guys think he's past his prime? I guess we won't find out until Joe Burrow's bye week because he's currently the backup quarterback on Henson's bench. He's going to be our great value pick of the draft. But we got to give it up for our number 1 panic pick of the draft. Goes to Cody for picking Miami defense in the 7th round. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen. If you ask him, he'll give you this whole spiel about how he was the double pick at the end of the draft. He put in his first pick, and then his phone froze, and then he pooped in his big boy pants. Don't worry about it, Chef. I'm sure that pick will work out for you. Or not, because you already dropped them. For the sake of accuracy, I do want to say, though, it was a 10th round pick. But we can say it was a 7th round pick, just for the sake of the joke. The top rated players in the fantasy app draft recap are Henson with an A+ overall number 1, Edwin with a B+ with a close second, 3rd overall is Chef, 4th place is Raul, Greg came in at 6th, apparently Vaughn and Donnie are going to tie for 7th. Personally though, I think the draft recap can suck my dick, because it said I'm going to go 0-14, finish dead last. So, fuck the draft recap. Alright, let's go over our fantasy matchup preview/review. The top scoring player of the night was Josh Allen, giving Greg a net total of 34.5 points and one mean-ass stiff arm that made some people get aggressive in the group chat. As I mentioned earlier, could this pick be paying off for Greg? We'll have to keep an eye on that. Second highest scoring player of the night, the Bills' defense. 27 points overall. Last year may have made you guys forget with not as many defensive peak performances, but in this league, if a defense can score 7 sacks and 3 interceptions while keeping the opponent to only 10 points, they can score as much as a RB1. In last night's matchup, they outscored Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and Matt Stafford, which actually isn't really saying much because Matt Gay, his kicker, actually outscored Stafford as well after throwing 3 picks. Some upcoming notable matchups in our league are Chef, who has to catch up to Greg in a 40-point deficit after Josh Allen's performance last night. Henson and Donnie are currently neck and neck. That's a matchup to watch out for because it's the new up-and-comer versus last year's rookie. Overall, we have a good slate of matchups in our league as well as in the NFL. Last night's matchup was a great one to start off the season. Buffalo was a 2.5-point favorite, which they easily covered, but the game did hit the under. This exact matchup had the potential to be last year's Super Bowl if it wasn't for the controversial overtime rule. A lot of NFL analysts are predicting the Bills to go all the way this year. It could just be a hype train. All I know is those of us who have the Bills on our rosters are going to ride along all night. Some other notable NFL matchups still coming up this week. Raiders versus Chargers. After that crazy win and in Week 18 matchup last season, I know me and Vaughn were at that game. This is always a classic division rivalry. Our Sunday night matchup, the Buccaneers versus the Cowboys. Is Tom Brady washed up? I know Edwin will definitely be celebrating. After the crazy offseason of trades and moves, there's actually a number of quarterbacks that are playing their old team in the first week's matchup for this season. Number 1, Russell Wilson, let's ride, is playing against his old team, the Seattle Seahawks. Baker Mayfield is playing against Cleveland after his bittersweet breakup with the Browns. Another one people might not have noticed is Joe Flacco is actually getting the start versus the Ravens, his old team, which he won the Super Bowl with in 2012 versus the 49ers, and was an elite Super Bowl MVP. Of course, the elite part being self-declared. Between last night's banger of a game and all the upcoming games on Sunday and Monday night, I think we have a great week slated for us in the NFL and in our league. Good luck to everybody in the first week of fantasy, and I will catch you next week on the Fantasy Freestyle Podcast.